You haven't started an ATM business because you don't have the experience and you don't have the skills, so you're afraid. Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about in this video. My name is Carey. Been an ATM business owner since 2009, ATM business mentor since 2011. If you'd like me to help you start your own ATM business, click that link down there in the bio. Okay, so experience and skill set, right, will change the trajectory of your entire ATM business, and honestly, anything in life, right? It would just be different experience, different skill set. Let me give you a real simple example. We went away, my wife and my two stepkids, her biological sons, obviously, went away for the holidays. Okay, we went to Myrtle Beach. We drove up there Christmas Eve, and we stayed till January 1st. Okay. Well, it's me and my wife, my youngest stepson who is 22, okay, and my oldest stepson who's going to be 31 in like a week or a few days. Okay, so this has to do with the 22-year-old, all right? So he said, hey, let's go to an escape room. Y'all know what that is, right? Where, you all go into his room and you have to find clues and, get out within a certain time frame, okay? And we're like, okay, cool, no problem, book it for us. Because he was researching it with his girlfriend or something. So he books the escape room for us, okay? No problem. Well, then what happened was for my training business, right, where I told you to click the link in the bio, my mentorship, my team had off for the holidays, okay? Everybody was off for the holidays. I decided to take calls because my team was off, right? So there was like this particular day was a day I decided to do calls, for folks that wanted to get help for the new year or to start their ATM business and all that kind of good stuff, yada, yada. Well, my stepson says, this is Joe. He's like, okay, we're going to the escape room. We have to leave at 4:15 for our, I guess, 5 o'clock session or something. And I'm like, well, I can't do that because I got a call at 4:30. I said, you need to call and change the time. All right, change it to a 6 o'clock start time. He's like, I can't do that. I'm like, why not? He's like, because you have to start at the time that you pick. I'm like, well, just call them and ask them to change the time. Tell them you made a mistake. You want to change the time. He's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. It says it right on their website. It says it right in the email. You can't do that because you're already scheduled with people. I'm like, Joseph, just call them and ask. It's not a big deal. No, you can't. It's impossible. You don't understand what I'm saying. It's impossible. You can't do that. You're not going to be able to reschedule it. That's not how this works. I'm like, Joe, just pick up the phone and call them and ask. No, you can't. So at this point, the soon to be 31-year-old said, dude, just call them. No. And then at this point, now his mom comes in and is like, just call them, Joseph. What the hell, He's like, no, you can't do that. They will not switch it. It says it right in the email, and it says no refunds, and you have to show up, 15 minutes early for your time, or blah, blah, blah. And he's just going off. Like, he is adamant, and he's upset. Like, he's getting upset, right? You can't do that. You can't do that. It says no refunds on their website. It says, you can't switch your time. It says no refunds. It says, and he is like, he's digging in. He is digging in, right? I'm like, Joseph, just pick up the phone and ask. You never know what you can get in life unless you ask. Just ask. So he's like, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it because they say you can't do it. He's upset at this point, right? So I was like, give me the phone number, send me the email. I'm going to fucking call them, So he sends me the email and I call them. They don't answer. I just leave a message. So I just leave them a message, we go about our day. Well, it turns out the call that I had scheduled needed to reschedule. So I was like, hey, we can leave on time. No big deal. Okay. Oh, and the message I left was, hey, my stepson didn't know that I was working. Can we please reschedule? Okay. For 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. So we're getting ready to leave. Like, we're leaving the normal time to get there at the normal time because there's not a problem now. Well, then they finally called me, and I don't answer the phone because I didn't recognize the number. I didn't even answer the phone because I don't even care anymore, right? Well, it was a voicemail from them, and I think it was a woman, and she's like, "Oh, I just got your message. I'm gonna look for you on the schedule, and I'll put you in at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock." What? Anyways, it all worked out. We went at 5 o'clock, our normal time. But I said to Joe, I'm like, "Yo, dude, guess what that's what my messages said." And I played it, and, I'm like, all you had to do was call and ask, right? I know what the website says. I know what the email says. I know what all that said. I just asked you to make a simple phone call and ask. I said, and you were just so scared, because this is the way they do things, and you didn't want to pick up the phone and call. Why, guys? Why? Because he doesn't have the experience that I have. He's 22 years old. 22. There's a lot of things in life he don't know about yet. He doesn't have my experience. That sometimes you get things that you ask for, despite what a website says, despite what an email says, despite anything. Sometimes you can get what you ask for. Sometimes people on the other end of the phone, despite what their website says, despite what their email says, despite their no refund policy, no changing, none of that, despite all that, sometimes the person on the other end gets it, understands, looks at their schedule, says, "You know what? No big deal. There's nobody here. We'll put them in at this time." Right? That's because I have experience that he doesn't have. I'm going to be 50 this year. He's going to be 23. Right? So that's experience, number one. And it's just also a skill set, right? That's a skill set of talking to people, problem solving, trying to figure things out, right? Just having conversations with people, hoping they'll see your side of things, right? They may not. They might have said, "You know what? No refunds. You got to show up at 5 or you lose your money." They might have said that. But I would have never known if I didn't ask. He also didn't know that I went to their online portal, right? And I saw that at 6 o'clock, nobody was scheduled. Nobody was scheduled. And there was 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 of us scheduled for 5 o'clock. So I'm like, you know what I mean? I went, did that extra effort, saw 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, nobody was scheduled. 5 o'clock, there were 7 people scheduled. We were 4 to 7, right? And I knew very well that 3 people could go by themselves and us 4 could go by ourselves, right? So another thing, experience lets us look up that information and figure stuff like that out, right? Skill set. Do you get what I'm saying here? So it was the experience and a skill set at play here that a 22-year-old does not have, and won't have for several years probably, right? But it's experience and a skill set that I do have, right? This is the same thing with the ATM business. Same thing. So right now, you don't have experience with the ATM business. You don't have the skill set to talk to business owners and be able to dodge questions and answer questions properly to get them to say yes to place your ATM. You don't have the skill set to know what to look for in a used ATM, right? Remember, don't buy used ATMs, okay? I'm going to put a link up here. My girl Maybell is going to put a link up here about, not buying used ATMs. Okay, you don't have this skill set. You don't understand what to look for. You don't understand what could go wrong. You don't understand how much it could cost you in the end, right? You don't have that skill set, that experience yet, right? That's why it's important to learn the ATM business, okay? Get a mentor. Learn from somebody who has experience. Been doing this since 2009, right? Don't learn from some clown that just learned this business a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Can they teach you things? Of course they can. They can teach you the basics of the ATM business. Anybody can teach you the basics of the ATM business. But when it comes down to it and you need real help, right, for things that really go wrong, potentially, or to prevent them from going wrong, but then when things really do go wrong, you need experience. You need a different skill set to help you get through that. Hopefully that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, okay? So if you have any questions about this, just drop them below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Just know that just because you don't have experience and you don't have a particular skill set right now, it doesn't mean it can't be learned, right? You can learn the skill set, okay? You can learn the skill set. You're going to learn just in time. You're going to get experience, right? But you can essentially borrow my experience. That's what you're doing. When you become a student of mine and you allow me to mentor you, you're borrowing my experience, right? To help you achieve new skill sets that are going to generate passive income and big chunks of cash in small time frames for you. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, any questions, drop them below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And again, if you'd like me to help you start your own ATM business, boom, click the link in the bio. All right. Any questions, drop them below. Any ideas for future videos, drop them below too. Carey Buck signing off. May you live happily off of passive income.